Well, hello, everybody, and good morning. Hopefully, everybody is having an incredible morning. It's Friday, and it's time to have our coffee, right, Jenny?
Yes, it
You ready
is.
for your coffee?
I've already had my coffee. I've been up since 5:30.
Oh, goodness, that's way too early.
No, I did two lots of laundry. I've straightened up things. Yeah, no, that's my best time. Also, it's gotten really cool here, so it's only 70 degrees. This morning when I came on, I got up. It was cool and it was nice.
Well, that's nice because in Virginia last week it was hot.
Well, it was hot
It was
last
very
week
very
too,
hot.
but this
Um,
week it was good. It's very good. It's perfect if you want to know the truth. It's clear. The air is clear. There's just a lot of stuff going on energetically, though. A lot of people are having problems with the energy.
well, it wouldn't surprise me with everything that's going on in the world.
Well,
Um,
something's going on energetically with the airplanes, and I guess it hasn't happened to me yet, but people's computers are down, networks are down. So yeah, something's going on.
well, I feel like everybody's really anxious too right now with all the
Why do
stuff
you
that's
feel?
going
Why
on,
do you
the
feel there's?
uncertainty that the news is bringing us.
I
Huh?
don't know. I know there's something going on though, energetically, because I've had auras. Jennifer's had auras. Other people are having auras. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
well, so I have my coffee, and it's a
And
new type of coffee.
my tea. I have tea.
I'm trying this new mushroom coffee, which I thought was going to be gross, and then a friend of mine had it, and I was like, yeah, it's not bad, and I like all the health benefits it comes with. So
Yeah. Well, what kind did you get? Send that to me, and I'll see. Because I tried a couple of different ones, and they tasted too earthy to me. It's like
this one's called Rise.
a rise.
This one's called Rise.
Right.
RYZE. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's good. Um,
Okay.
Because why not get all this stuff when you're coffee? I mean, we drink coffee every morning, so it's I like things that make things easy. So
Well, it's easy. My
anyhow,
coffee, I get up every morning and I make a big, I only do 2 cups of coffee a day. I won't do, I used to do when I was really young, when I was working all the time, did 2 pots of coffee a day. That's why one reason why I had a heart attack.
I remember I used to help you drink that coffee.
Yeah, we drink a pot. So yeah, it was pretty
Well, I think we changed also. I think we also changed like every.
7 years.
We were joking about this last week when I was talking about. Yeah, we change well every 7 years. But I remember we were just talking about this in our group the other day, and me calling you every morning getting Dunkin' Donuts, and
Yeah,
the two things, Boston cream,
yeah.
and now I can barely even eat them. I've tried to eat them, and I'm like, I'll eat it 1 or 2 bites, and I'm like, ugh,
I
no.
can't do a lot of sugar anymore. It was like, ugh. And I did have a donut the not too long ago. It was a long john with cream in it because I don't like Boston cream. I like cream. And keep shining, y'all. Y'all's light. Who's that's Kevin Lee. And I got it,
Kevin,
and it
hey Kevin, what's going on?
and what it did is it took me almost 3 days to be able to eat it. I cut it a little bit at pieces and then put it back up. And I could only have a little bit a day. I couldn't eat it like, I mean, I look back at them, I could eat 2 or 3 of those long johns all day long. I couldn't do it. It was too, just didn't taste good. Well, but you know what? Ever since we've had COVID, and all that went on. I've lost a lot of my taste. Every once in a while, it'll come back to me, be like, oh wow, that tasted so good, and then it goes right back to the way it was.
Especially when it's pad thai.
Oh yeah,
But
I ate that. That was so. Oh no! When I went home to your place and we got to that restaurant, it was like, oh my god, this is wonderful. But when I went back the second time, wasn't the same. Just
y'all,
weird.
when she comes to visit me, we go on restaurant tours, and
Yeah, I went to that one restaurant
one
you
time
did.
she really, really liked it. One time she was like awful.
Awful. And then I had that drink. I took a drink of your stuff, that one, and it was like, oh, I thought I was gonna vomit because the texture. I have a lot of problems with texture with food. And it went down and went, oh my God, that was awful. And I've seen more of those kind of shakes or whatever you got. What do you call those things? Had the bubble things in it.
It's a bobo tea.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah,
Awful.
it's Thai tea. It's Thai tea, but it's got the bobos in it.
Oh, that.
And it's basically it's a different textures, but I think that one is like yogurt.
Well, it
I
definitely
love
is
that. I think it's amazing.
a long way, and I didn't think it was going to stay down because it hit the back of my throat. And I don't do pills or anything. That's why I couldn't do a lot of pills because I have to do it differently. Because if it hits a certain part of, I'll bring that back up. All the pills that I've got in there, it'll come back out real quick, and it's like, oh. So yeah, no, we did. We've had several good. Soulful groups that have been really good. I'm impressed by this group. And then Kelly is coming.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool to watch them.
Yeah,
Is
it's
she coming to see you?
Yeah, she's coming to see me in August. But the thing is, look at the ones that we've been working with almost 10 months. Look how they've changed. How they see it. They even changed in their faces. So yeah.
Yeah, we have one girl. The one girl that came on the other day, she just lit up, and
Yeah.
you could see the stress on her face when she first started working with us. And
Oh my gosh, yes.
and it's like, and then we've seen just, I mean, it's just a joy to see them every week. So
It is. I enjoy, and I mean, it's like personal friends are coming in. That's what I feel like sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm so glad to see you all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of the first group I've done since Sacred Grounds. And Damien says hi. Good morning.
I saw that.
And so, since Sacred Grounds, it's like kind of the first group, and it's the first group I've done online like this, on a regular basis, other than webinars and that kind of stuff. So, to me, it's been really kind of a cool experience. So,
well, it's been we've been for 10 months.
I think right now. Yeah, well, we're getting ready to come up on a year now.
And that video for Jeff Maher has gone to 938. 938,000.
It's gonna hit 1 million, y'all.
I want it to because then we're going to have a celebration because Jeff Maher is going to make money for that. When you get 1 million, YouTube sends something to them. I don't know what they get, perks or whatever. We don't get it, but they do. And I was going to call them and say, congratulations, because I'm the only one on there that has been like that. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty hard to do. But I don't even remember how that, how fast that moved. The first 3 or 4 weeks, it was crazy. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, we could go back to that. You never know. In September, it might jump up like 400,000 in that month.
I know. Because remember, everything slowed down, and then all of a sudden, I thought it was just happening again. People were contacting me, and I thought, "Wow, what is all of this about?" So yeah, I still get some of the nasty comments still, but since I can get on now, they realized this one guy had written a very nasty comment on it. And I just wrote back and said, "This is Virginia Drake." And I said, "You're talking to me. And I can't believe that you would say something like that about somebody you don't even know. And then you've never had the experience. But you know what? That tells me who you are." And then I just done. It was very powerful because remember at the beginning, I couldn't say anything. I was stuck. And it was like I was getting mad. That's why I had the eczema because I was getting so mad. And then I called that girl from Australia. She pissed me off so bad. I went after her because she didn't even know who I am. And the things we had, I mean, it was horrible at the beginning. But now I think people are really starting to, the people that are perfect, people that are coming in, they're nicer. They don't have to agree with me. Nobody has to agree with me. They don't have to be nasty. And then when they think you're not going to answer.
Well, I mean, that's the truth, is that there's always going to be people that are not going to agree with you. It doesn't even matter. They're not even going to agree with, the color you wore that day.
Oh, exactly. I've never, to me, well, I mean, look at when we were doing Lamplight, with a couple of those. I mean, look at the things they said on when we were talking. Back then, they were nasty. One of those people that was my ex-husband.
Well, my favorite through all this was the lady that started criticizing me for us having a conversation like this, and she thought I was interrupting you.
Is that when we were at my kitchen? Yeah, it was in my kitchen. We did it in my kitchen.
Yeah. They're like, "You're being rude. You're interrupting. You're interrupting the very special guest. You obviously are not a good interviewer." And I was like, "Kiss my ass."
Well, we talk like that all the time, but we're not. That's where people don't understand our relationship at all, Jeremy. So sometimes, because I'm an old grandmother and, you're so people just don't get it.
Well, according to Ronnie in our group, I'm now a pre-senior citizen.
A what? You're what?
Ronnie in our group.
Uh-huh.
She calls me. She said I was a pre-senior citizen.
I like Ronnie. We've watched Ronnie grow. We've watched her grow a lot.
I was like, "You're not funny."
Well, I remember when I was 50. You're powerful in 50. I learned a lot in 50s and 60s. And then in 70, in fact, next week, I will be 73 years old. And I think to myself, wow, I've done a really amazing, since I was 51. I mean, I did a lot when I was younger, and I had all these awards, and I did a lot of work, and I helped a lot of people. But, it hasn't been like this. This has been a wonderful opportunity for me just to be me. This is who I am. I'm not, 30 or 40 years ago, that was an image that I thought was me. This is me. So, yeah, very fortunate to be able to do this and be me.
Yeah. I get it.
A lot of people are out there and they are not who they are. And I think people are starting to, you don't need masks anymore. When everybody says, well, they got a mask. Most people have a mask. That's one thing I thought about the pandemic is I thought it was funny because we were watching people with a mask, an invisible mask. And when the pandemic came in, literally they had to wear a mask so you could see it. And they didn't realize that they had a mask.
You're talking about the masks we wear that hides our authenticity.
Yes. I even talked about it, the masquerade party. I said, I've been to a masquerade party all my life. And you walk in and they go, "Hi, how are you? Great weather, isn't it?" "Oh, the weather's been a bitch." I mean, it was all weather work, weather talking, children, grandmothers, very shallow conversations. And you walk out of a, I would go out and scan in a room who were the people that I wanted to be with. Okay. That's before I woke up. When I woke up, I would scan in a room to find out who's going to give me a lesson. And if it was somebody I didn't really like to be in that party or in that, group, I would find out why. Because all they were was my mirror, and find out what I was doing. And I went and really worked with one woman who doesn't know that to this day, but I walked right up to her after I really never liked her at all. She was a parent too. So I walked up to her and I said, "You've been the best teacher you ever showed me." And I remember when she said, "Well, that's good. You should have found out about it a long time ago." And I thought, "Oh, she didn't get it." And I remember and I do this a lot. I'm done. I don't have to have her in my mind ever again. And she used to be in my mind a lot. Now think about it. I was just telling a client not too long ago that I said, you have a lot of people imprisoned in your mind, and they're not physically there. And it shocked them when I said it. And she said, why do you say that? I said, because I lived it. I said, I had more people in my mind in my prison, and I had to go and confront them all the time, and they weren't even physically there. And I said, when I learned that, that's when I had to start really, really becoming very aware. What was I saying inside of me? So, yeah, it was, I would not trade what's happened to me. I mean, I lost a lot of things, but I lost a lot of people. But the right and perfect people came back. And there's a reason why we have to go learn to do that. As you get older, you're willing to do it more. Yeah. I don't want a lot of people. I've only got 5 or 6 people at the most that I'm close to. And Jennifer and I were talking about this, my Jennifer. She said, the older I get, the less people I want in my life.
And that makes sense. I mean, I probably have 5 or 6 people too. So,
well, you have that. You have a lot of friends.
I have a lot of acquaintances, but I only have 5, maybe 6 people that I talk to on a regular basis, and
that you trust.
The ones that I want around me, that I trust. Yeah,
that we truly trust, because that's one thing I do appreciate you and Jennifer and Mary Pat. A few of them, others, but because you don't have to walk on eggshells. I refuse to walk on eggshells. And and there's people out there, I know they're out there in Facebook, they're doing the same thing that I'm telling you, and you've done it. If they don't start seeing that, they're not going to wake up to the real facts that, those people are just acquaintances, or they're just the outside people. Sometimes they'll bring in a mirror or two, but no, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with people like that, because my time is precious for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of those 5 or 6 people that's watching right now, hopefully he's okay to go to the gym at 2:00 today. So.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing to know. So no.
He and I have a lot of fun. We go and we just enjoy ourselves, and then we get done working out, and then we go sit on. They have these massage beds that you can sit on, and so it's like your reward for doing something, And I've been big on that for a long time. If I go do something that I'm going to procrastinate on, that I would normally procrastinate on, I always do something that rewards myself. Because for the longest time, I'd work on something in my business, and I would work on something in my business before I watch TV. So my watching the TV, like a movie I really wanted to watch, was my reward for doing something that I knew I needed to get done. So, and that's one of the things, if you reward yourself for doing things you need to get done, you're going to change your mindset that this is not a difficult thing. This is something that I'm going to do, and then I'm going to get rewarded, because you're rewarding yourself. So.
Well, yeah,
I've always
and
just, I've,
being kind to yourself. You're being a coach. You and I coach ourselves. A lot of times I coach myself. If I got a problem going on within me, I'll start talking to my inner self. Just like the other day, my shoulder has been hurt because the way I've been working with it. So I had to put my tennis ball in the back of my shoulder and work through it so I can raise it up again because it is a frozen shoulder. And if I don't take care of it, it will get really sore. And so this is why a lot of people my age are not doing the inner work like that because I had to work with that tennis ball on the outside of me so I could just get it to where I could work. And I remember when I popped my spine back in. It was amazing because this whole part of my neck, everything came back in alignment. I mean, you can do these kind of things, but you have to be aware that they're going on. A lot of people, I mean, I work with people my age that have frozen shoulders. They can't move. It's pathetic. It's hard on them. So yeah, you have to be very aware to change it. And we know that,
yeah,
don't we? Yeah.
we do.
Do we ever?
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely. So I would say, go ahead.
What? No, go on.
I said, go ahead. I was to say I would challenge everybody to do something like if you've got something you want to do, like what this occurred to me yesterday when I was at the gym too, is that nothing happens when you're wishing for it.
Yes.
And like even something like in taking action doesn't always mean everything is going to work out exactly the way you want it to. It just means you're taking action, and through those actions you learn something. And
Right.
so and then you get better each time, you refine it each time, and this is why you can have perseverance, stronger perseverance, because you know you're going to get better. And then the other thing is, we were just talking, this is something you and I were talking about the other day too. You can't mind yourself. In other words, you can't logic yourself into those spiritual enlightened moments. If you try to think it too much, things don't happen. And that's like that in life. If you try to think things too much, think about it too much, you're never going to act on it because you're still going to be thinking. What's the old saying that says, life is what happens when others are busy making plans?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I've seen it before. It was clients that there will be a moment when they're especially in the room with me, or I see it on the computer. I'll see them go in, and the next thing you know, they're back out. But you saw them go in. But then you've got to direct it to them, showing them that's what happened because they didn't even know it. Only thing they would say is, I felt a moment of clarity, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
And I said,
well, it's because then they get too much in their minds. Then,
well, they trick because it doesn't seem normal, so they immediately go back to what they think is familiar, and that's what people do. They do some crazy stuff, and I tell them all the time. I said, you went back to an abuse because it was familiar. And they get mad at me. I mean, I have people that get into because I work with them with domestic violence, and they go like this. They say, "Oh, no, that's not true." And I said, "Oh, yes, it is. I've done it." When you're familiar with something, even if it's bad, the unknown scares you more than the abuse or the feelings of bad. It's more familiar. Oh, I've seen it. I did it to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you go into, I call them default habits.
Yeah, so. Well, and that's it, because this is what we need to teach people. That's what I tell people when they don't want to go there. And we're the ones that push them to go through the damn door. Then they get mad at us. This is what happened to
me. Yeah, because people, this happens too when people gossip about the other people, because they'll say things like, well, I just don't understand why the person's not getting it. I'm like, well, they're not getting it because they haven't seen their value in themselves, A, and B, even if they did have a moment of, I saw the value in myself, they fall back into default habits because A, it gets easier. And people fall back into default habits when things get tough.
Yes.
They're like, oh, that was just too hard. And that's the time to push even harder.
Yeah.
Or step back and look at your direction. So sometimes it's not always push. It's also step back and say, wait a second, what is this working? And
you're right.
So
and that's why we do divine order, divine timing, divine plan, and make it easy. I get back in my couch, or you'll get back into, and it's not a meditation like I go in there and I just shut everything down and I start pondering. And people don't understand pondering. Pondering is I'm not thinking, I'm witnessing what's going on in my mind, so I can direct it to where I need to go to find the truth in it. Simple, but the hardest thing they'll do, because that's happened several times with other clients, and they get mad at me because they'll say, I'm not ready to do this. But then yet they'll scream and yell at you that they have already done it. And they're still in the same space.
Well, yeah, they probably have done it in a glimpse, but then when it got hard, back into default habits.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It is. I've watched it. Oh, well, I've been doing it for 26 years, and I've watched it with myself. And I'm the worst critic of my own self because I did it to myself constantly. Because I would get to that part, especially leaving my family. It took me 5 years to break. I mean, I knew that I wasn't happy in my marriage many, many years prior to 5 years of leaving before, but I didn't have the guts to walk out of it because I had already programmed myself that I thought, oh my God, this is all I can do. And when the heart attack came in, that's when it opened me up to say, does this really matter? You can get something else. And I remember I sat and pondered for 5 years. Does this really make me happy? Does this make me? And I started asking a lot of deep questions. And I remember one night I was in a deep meditation, and it's not, I'm not laying in bed. I'm just pondering. It was like, you've been unhappy for a long, long time. And you put your face on and pretended like you weren't. And I thought, this is why I had a heart attack. This is why I had my throat. I had a lesion in my throat. This is why I had cancer here. This is why I broke my back. I was angry all the time. And I hurt my own son in a car accident because he didn't follow through what I asked him to do. And I did not have to respond to that. That's why I had a car accident with him. I broke my back and I busted his face. And I was out of control. Another being was riding. And if I hadn't screamed out to Jason in that car accident as we're going over, we're flying. We should have died. I'm not kidding you. I looked at Jason and said, we need to pray. And I remember my hands, and I started praying. My hands gripped and I had fake nails at that time, and it cut into my hands. I had cuts in here where my fingernails went in, holding and gripping that steering wheel. But I went over a road and landed at a fence. Now the axle of the car, the van was broken. That's why my back was broken. But Jason, I saw it was slow motion. I saw when he cut his face right here. He didn't have a seatbelt. He was in the back of the seat trying to get his book pack, and we had the wreck. And I'm screaming. I'm being honest. I was screaming because he was going to get another F in his 5th grade. He wasn't paying attention. Jason. And now that I know about my son, I see why he was doing that. He was just lost. He was in another world because he couldn't live with the one that he had just received that he first started in. My son was molested at the age of 2. And it made perfectly good sense why he was not in his body and his mind.
Well, baby's pretty chill.
Huh? Oh yeah.
Baby's behind you pretty reluctant.
Well, he loves it when we sometimes when you can see, look at him. That's energetic. He does that because I can look at him and or I can point my finger and you've seen it, and he'll go into a yawn. I can slow him down. I can make. He's really easy,
Yeah.
but he was
Well,
really.
listen, everybody. It's 10 o'clock, so we have a webinar tomorrow at 2 p.m. if you want to check it out, mydivineinheritance.org. Everybody have a blessed day and a wonderful weekend.
Yes, go to our website and join us.
Yeah.